first line of defence to make sure things are being done properly internally. I know that during this year we had one internal audit report which gave a red rating, which was around the housing capital programme for kitchens and bathrooms. Could you just tell me what were the issues that if you like, red flag internal report highlighted? What were its recommendations, and have those recommendations been followed up on?
It's red. And before anybody thinks this has been hidden, this has actually gone through all the scrutiny processes. These are all public documents of what was actually going on there. What was noted was that some of the invoices we were receiving from some of our contractors were not 100% in line with some of the works that we expected. And what was noted was that some of the measurements that some of the workforce of this contractor was giving didn't stack up with our houses. This is just my interpretation so as people understand what was actually happening. We have a kitchen that's 6 metres long. They were claiming for 6.5, 7 metres of tiling. We put actions in place. We know how big our houses are, and these invoices are now checked to make sure that they are correct and the correct amounts paid. And the contractor that was doing this has also been taken off of our books. So in the end, they are the losers, not our residents.
Councillor Smith, your report. Last year, Thurrock received more complaints about council tax than all of the other councils in Essex combined, with more than one complaint being received every working day. It appears that this shameful statistic is set to be repeated this year. Could you outline what actions, if any, you've taken to learn from these complaints?
I have the stats in front of me, and the stats do not stack up with what your answers are doing. We are actually have less complaints this year than we've had in any previous years. Our complaints are actually falling. I just don't understand where you're getting these stats from. And I think last year I asked you to show us these stats because they just do not appear in our books. So once again, I just do not understand what you're talking about.
Deputy Mayor. Thank you for the report, Councillor Smith, but I must correct you something first of all when you said that overview and scrutiny cannot dictate a new way to collect or enforce council tax. That is legislation, so I take that out. You can't do that. But your report is actually I must say I've read it and I think it's very precise. It is wide-ranging, and it clearly shows and explains that although the majority of this portfolio may not be customer-facing, it does provide essential support and performance monitoring to large areas of the council, including the management of the council's strategic partnerships, and will therefore, in my opinion, be a main indicator as to exactly where savings can be made and how they can be implemented. Now, you said in your report that many of your services have improved, and this report, although it does indicate some performance headlines, it doesn't provide us with an overall picture of how the council is performing. I'm afraid this begs the question why. Maybe the answer lies in your report to Cabinet of the 8th of January, which stated that only 64% of the council's performance headlines, 64%, are reaching their targets. Do you think this is acceptable? What are you doing about it, please?
The KPIs are reported on every month, and every quarter there is a full report that's there and it's for the public's and your information. And those KPIs are actually showing improvements over service after service after service. We do not ever expect to be at 100% on our KPIs because they are challenging KPIs. We are challenging our officers to provide a service time and time again. When you say that I cannot ask the overview and scrutiny to look at how we collect our money off of our residents, there is no legislation on that, and perhaps this explains why you made such a mess when you were in power. What we're going to do, it says clearly in page 98, the reforms are wide aware how it is important that we take this opportunity to reconsider our approach to debt collection, thresholds and use of bailiffs in line with the changes. That is what we're talking about, and it clearly says in there, so we can do it despite...
Since taking control of the council,
the number of staff on zero-hour contracts has increased by nearly 300%, and now nearly 1 in 10 staff on the corporate payroll are on this type of contract. Now, for those that like data, okay, for those that like data, Councillor Kent, in 2010 we had nearly 70 on 0 hours. In 2013 we had 190. So could the portfolio holder outline how this fits into his party's mantra that these types of contracts are terrible, should be banned? And perhaps you could give us a sneak peek into what your zero-hour bashing Polly Billings and Labour PPC would have to say about your party's pathetic performance on zero-hour contracts.
Are unable to read simple documents. I think what you'll actually find is that the number is 18 people that are on zero-hour contracts. And I think if you actually go back a few meetings, the leader gave a wide answer to why some people are on zero-hour contracts.